Hello, Scotty, how are you?
Well, good, man. Good. Good. It's good to be back in France.
To begin the interview, can you tell us how is the mood on stage by now with the band?
Oh, it's pure energy. Pure energy. I mean, because we have such a good chemistry in the band now that, we all get along so well that on stage it's just great energy, interaction between all of us. The shows throughout Europe have been going great. It's really good to be here. So, the mood on stage is really good. Crowd's been great. Tonight we're in Paris. The shows in Paris are always fantastic. Every time we ever played here, even back in '89 with Motley Crue, right on to, I expect good things tonight.
Perfect. You talked about the mood in the band. Do you think that by now with Johnny and Phil in the band, the mood and maybe the urge to play is different than in the early years?
You know what? We've always had the urge to play. It's when we weren't, in the old days, it's when we weren't playing, is when the problems happened. It's like when we were not on stage, when we were on a bus or in rehearsal. That's when all the problems happened. On stage it was great, but now it's great on stage and it's great off stage. We hang out on our days off. The band, the five of us will go out to dinner, on a day off when, most bands never do stuff like that. We like to spend time together, we're all friends, so that's fun, man, We even talk about going on vacation together. It's like, we spend a fucking year on the road and then we're like, hey man, let's go on vacation, So, it's good. That's the only way to be in a band, man, is when you get along. Because when you don't, it fucking sucks.
And yeah, considering all the members in the band, did it happen for you to go on vacation with them, or maybe to hang out outside of the band situation?
What with the old guys?
Yeah, with Rob and Sebastian.
Rob just came and visited me in Florida. I live in Florida. He came and visited me and stayed at my house in January. So we see each other, we talk, and we're still really good friends. And he came and stayed for a couple of days. The other guy we don't speak to at all.
Okay.
I haven't spoken to him in 7 years probably.
Oh yeah.
Been a long time. And that's fine. And we're all better for it.
Okay, so maybe you know it, in France we didn't have so much news about the band. So can you tell us briefly what happened with Rob and the guy you don't want to put the name? Yeah, shortly, what happened for you to have some separate ways?
Very shortly. There was so much turmoil in the band for so long, We were all very unhappy. Sebastian was unhappy, we were unhappy, and nobody knew that for such a long time because we covered it up really well, And our shows were doing really well and stuff, and after a while we got off the road and I don't think anybody wanted to go back, so we just decided it'd be best to part ways. Rob was still in the band at that point, well, there was really no band at that point. We started a side project here and there, and after a while, the thing with Rob was he just was concentrating more on other things rather than playing the drums. He had his mind in other areas and different career moves and things like that. So we had to part ways with him. And Phil's been friends of Snake, Rachel, and myself for years, so he was a natural fit. It was time to. I'm kind of very condensing a long story, but there's a lot involved. But it was just like it wasn't worth doing it anymore. It just wasn't. It was too miserable. I was like, man, I'll go get a regular job or join another band or something, because it just wasn't. It was horrible. Very unhappy. Not like that anymore. It's all good now.
Okay.
Play smaller rooms, feel a lot better.
Yeah. And yet, considering maybe the years of nothing in the band, how did you live that? And was it told between all of us that there was a kind of nothing for Skid Row at the moment?
Yeah. It was, there was no Skid Row. for a few years. There was a lot of PlayStation, and that's it. PlayStation. But we Snake Rich and I put a side band together called Ozone Monday, and we recorded some stuff. And that was good. It was all right. It was nothing fantastic, but it wasn't where our hearts were at. So we needed to do the Skid Row thing, because we were there from the beginning, very beginning. So we decided to give it a shot. Found Johnny down in Texas, perfect fit, fun guy. He's a good old boy, redneck. It's awesome guy.
Okay, considering the black hole, how many time or maybe how many years did it happen to do nothing?
I think it was about 4 years. Yeah, about 4 years. I played with some friends of mine and things like that. Just kind of hung out and enjoyed life. Because we the first few years of the band is all we did was tour. We didn't have any life outside of touring. So when we split up, it was like, I think it was a very much needed break. We really, speaking for myself, I really needed to just sit around and do nothing for a while. I recorded at home, in a small studio at my house, and just hung out, sleep late, eat, get fat, the whole thing.
And PlayStation.
Yeah, PlayStation.
Okay, so yeah, considering the history of the band, do you think that what happened with the lineup changes and maybe the good or bad feelings happened because of the intense touring?
No. That of course makes things more difficult, but if you spend enough time with anybody, you can get sick of them eventually. But no, those problems started developing before we even recorded our first record. But over the years, they became more apparent. Much to a lot of people think, man, it was all egos and shit like that. It's just people not getting along. It's just people that don't like each other. That are stuck together. That's as simple as that. And after a while, you're just like, fuck this, I'm out of here.
Okay. So let's go now talking about Thick Skin.
What do you mean? Thick Skin?
This one. So first, you were signed on a big label called
Right.
Atlantic. So first, with them, what happened? Were you still in contract with them?
No. Speaking for myself, not the rest of the band, but they probably would agree with me. I think major labels are just fucking thieves, They're just, they're behind you when you're big, and it's an old cliche. Everybody knows this, but after a while, when you're sitting around and you're reading your contracts and your financial statements, and you're going, none of this adds up, We generate the money, everybody else takes it. So it's like, fuck that, man. I don't want to deal with that. I would rather sell a small amount of records and make enough money to survive. Proportionally, the amount of money you make making your own record, proportionally, it's huge. You sell a fraction of the records and make the same amount of money, and you do it your own way, and you're not dealing with a bunch of fucking assholes just sitting up in an office building. Yeah. That know absolutely nothing about what you're doing. You're just numbers on you're just a chart for them.
A statistic.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I'd rather just not be a statistic and be a human being. It's because it's my livelihood, And it's people will, oh man, it's all about the money. Well, fuck, this is my job. This is when I go on stage, I'm going to work. That's how I make my money. I love what I do, and I love music, but I pay the bills also. So it's very important that you give yourself a fair deal. So we went out and we talked to some independent labels, and we're on SPV in Europe, but in America we're on Skid Row Records. So it was just very important that we do it that way. You know, because the indies in America were not offering us what we considered a good deal. So we said, you know what? Let's just back this thing ourselves and do it. And that's, you know, I think it's a good thing we did that. You know, we proved a point that it can be done. It's not on a grand scale, but it's working.
Okay, okay. And was it maybe an end contract with Atlantic, or did you have to fight with them to be free?
No, there's no fighting. It was like, all right, bye, see you later. You know, there's no more money to be wrung out of this machine. So, see ya.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and as a fan, I consider the 40 seasons, the best of, as a kind of end of contract. So was it the case for you?
You know what? Contractually speaking, I'm not sure if that was the complete end. Couldn't really tell you, but it was the end for us. You know. Here.
Okay, okay. So yeah, in a way, you are kind of auto-produced.
What's that?
Kind of auto-produced band. You know, auto-production. By the way, with your SKID records, yeah.
Oh
self-produced, yeah.
Yeah, we do everything, from T-shirt designs to the website to the production of the record to the artwork. It's all us.
Everything.
Some of it sucks and some of it's good. You know, you can't be good at everything. But the music turned out all right.
And yeah, considering this way to control everything, by now I suppose that the name Skid Row is allowing you to do that. But
yeah.
Did you imagine that in the very beginning of the band?
No. I mean, in the very beginning, all you want to do is sign with a big label. That's all. I mean, because you'd sell your soul to just get a break. I mean, it's so obvious why bands sign shitty deals, is because they're so desperate to get out of the hole, because it's so hard to get out of that hole. So many of them never do. They're just stuck in that hole of local bands, and it's so hard to get out. So as soon as there's any kind of opportunity to get on a major or even a good independent, people will sign anything. Anything. And you know, I can remember feeling that way. It's like, I'll do anything. I don't care. I just want to get on a label and get a record out.
Get the fuck out?
Yeah. Get the fuck out. Get the record the fuck out. Yeah.
Okay. So considering thick skin, sorry.
Mm-hmm. Thick skin.
Yeah, thick skin. Did you approach this album like you used to do with the past records?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe did you had in mind a special maybe feeling or aim?
No, never an aim. Just go in and you know, one day we're working on, you know, the song New Generation. We want to make that the best we can that day. That's it. There's no other songs. There's no other anything else. It's that song. Next time we go in, different song. It's like same thing. You know, it's just. Rather than look at it as a whole record, just work on the small pieces of it one at a time. Make each piece the best you can make it. But no specific aim to say it's going to sound like this or it's going to sound like that, or you know, what you have there is just us fooling around the studio for a while. You know, writing tunes, and we wrote. One thing we did that we've always done was we wrote more music than we needed, and we threw away a bunch of stuff. So we kind of weeded out, you know, what we wanted to keep and what we didn't.
And considering the composition, was it done in the same spirit, or maybe after all the years of silence, did you add maybe so much to say?
It was done our way, which is pretty much the way we've done all our records. But there was, I know what you're saying. There's a lot of pent up energy from not being able to say what we want to say on a record. So yeah, I'd say there was a lot of good energy because we worked in a small studio, in a hometown studio with a friend of ours. Nothing fancy, nothing big budget, and just bought the whole place out until we were done. Really cool experience. Definitely a lot of fun. no arguments, no drama, none of that shit. You know, we show up at the studio just ready to play. It's fucking great. It's the only way to do it, man. When it feels good. It's not like you know, the big studios are a lot of fun and they're really cool and they're nice and clean and all that, but there's this kind of a sterile environment. This was more like the studio we recorded this album in. The majority of it was in New Jersey, where all the local bands record their demos. It was a good studio, but you know, inexpensive, in an old part of town, in an old building, and with great gear and a guy that knows how to use it. So that was very important. And the fact that we did it like that was like kind of going back to the roots.
And maybe we can hear it. For me, it's more rockier than in the past.
I can't tell. I don't know. I'm too close to it. Mm-hmm. When you get close to something, it's really hard to tell. You know, I mean, Subhuman's a pretty heavy record, but you know, I like this one better, I think. It's hard to tell.
You know, the first time I listened to it, I hated it.
That's cool. Hold on a sec. Going to Paris, man.
Oh, today?
Yeah, she wanted to, but you know, she loves Paris. That should work.
So yeah, I was saying to you that the first time I listened to it,
you didn't like it.
I was so upset, and with the time, I learned to love this album at the same point of the old ones, but I can't explain how those kind of rockier songs were so hard to assimilate for me. So
you probably like maybe Ghost or you like the more mellow stuff maybe.
No, maybe a New Generation or maybe all the
you like those?
Yeah, the punky rock songs. But I can't explain myself how it was so hard to listen to maybe those. I think they are so flowing songs. You know what I mean?
I'm not.
That was not what I was expecting.
Right, it's not what you were expecting. Well, you know what you got is you got three guys from the original Skid Row that have me, Snake, Rachel. We all have our own sound, and you're putting two new guys in there. New guys, they've been in the band for almost 5 years, but you're putting them in there, and then you're also taking the time between the last record recorded by Skid Row to this record, and that time is going to change any sound also. I mean, you know, your taste in music changes, your style changes, all that stuff. So I think you know, it still has that Skid Row sound, but it's progressed through time.
And you know, Skid Row has this chance to have maybe few albums, but some years between all of them. Yeah. So you have the time to evolve.
Sure. That's why Skid Row and Slave to the Grind sound so different. There's a lot of life lived between those records. You know, time-wise, it was probably about 2 years, but up here it was probably about 5. You know. So. But you know, I think that's good that you felt that way about it, because for me, when I get a new record and I listen to it the first time and I'm like, I mean, you obviously didn't like it, but if I'm like, it's okay, that usually winds up being something that I listen to for a long time. And when I get a record and I listen to it the first time and I love it, it usually grows off me much faster. That's just me, but.
I'm a fan of this album by now.
Good.
But
I'm glad.
The first reaction was, "What is this?"
That's cool. That's cool. You know, all we want people to do is listen to it. If you don't like it, then fine. You know, sell it, give it away, whatever. If you don't like it, and if you do, then even better. You know.
Okay. Considering the new members, you didn't have an easy way to do because of the position of Sebastian, really living guy, quite exuberant. You had to replace him, his voice.
Right.
So
we're replacing a focal point of the band and a sound of the band.
So yeah, you felt that replacing the singer of the band would have been harder than replacing anyone?
It was. It was very hard. Very hard. I mean, it's been so long now, but there are people that still refuse to accept it, and that's just the way it is. I mean, you know, people just, they won't accept it and they won't go away. If you can't accept it, then just go away if you don't want to know about it, because, I mean, this is how it is. This is how it has to be, and it's just how it is. So, and we all understand that, and, you know, just get over it. If you don't like it, don't listen to it, period. But it's not going to be the way it used to be. You know, I mean, if you got divorced from your wife and married somebody else, I wouldn't come into your life and say, you got to get back together with your ex-wife. That's just how it has to be.
She doesn't want.
Yeah. All right. Maybe. Yeah. Well, that we don't want, and you know, and it's not my place to tell you what you got to do, because you know what? Skid Row is not a publicly owned company. Skid Row is 5 guys. 5 guys that do it for us first, everybody else second. When people don't buy it, screw it, man. I'll go do something else.
Yes.
Yeah.
You had a bunch of new songs to offer to the fans.
I beg your pardon?
Yes. Oh, guys.
It's noisy.
Yeah. With all the years, I suppose you had a lot of material to record and to offer to the fans. So why the choice to re-record I Remember You?
Because we could. You know, it happened in rehearsal. We were joking around and we started playing it real fast, because Rachel's like, "Hey man, let's do it like this, just for fun, see what it sounds like." And we were playing it and we were laughing. It was funny. We were just cracking up. It was a lot of fun. So we said, "Let's record it just to see what it sounds like." And we did, and you know, we liked it. A lot of people hate it, but once again, I don't care. It's ours. We do what we want to it. People go, "Oh, how could you do that to such a beautiful song?" Hey, you know what? We love the old version of the song. We do both versions in the set. We would never, ever leave out the old version. We love it. We just pay homage to it. It's great. We're just having fun, that's all. What's wrong with having fun? What is wrong with having fun? Lighten the fuck up, all right?
But, you know, for me this song is also a kind of proof, considering Johnny, because on some lines we can hear that he's able to copy Sebastian.
Oh yeah.
So maybe was it a way for you to put it and to say, "Hey, fucker," you know, how he's able to sing?
No, it had nothing to do with Johnny. It had nothing to do with the vocal thing or anything like that. You know, Johnny is a different singer. You know, I mean, singing of all instruments is definitely the most individual, because it's a physical part of the body, you know. So Johnny's definitely a different singer. We know that. He knows that. Everybody knows that. But so that had nothing to do with that. It was just because we thought it would be a fun thing to do. So no regrets.
In the past, you used to record with big names like Bob Rock or maybe Michael Wagner. So how was it to have not the name of those big people in the music industry?
It was pretty natural, because you know, after years and years of recording, we pretty much know our way around a studio and how a song is constructed, and you know, producing your own record or co-producing it is a risky thing, but you know, we felt that, you know, we could handle it. We've been doing this long enough now that we're off of the training wheels. We know what we're doing. So it was cool, you know. It was definitely good. That extra input always helps from an outside person. Definitely helps. But you know, it was a good experience. You know, I mean, sometimes a producer can do more damage than good. You know, it's never been the case with us, but it definitely. I've seen cases where I've heard bands' demos, and then I've heard what a producer has done with their record, and it's horrible. So you never know. It's always a roll of the dice.
Considering make me miss my question.
It's all right.
So yeah, with Atlantic Records, you released a lot of singles So with your own label now and SPV, do you think you will have the same way of release singles and videos, some stuff?
It's different. It's very difficult, you know, doing it on a small level to get airplay. But we did shoot a video for the song Ghosts, and that's been SPV just got that like 2 weeks ago, I think. So I'm not sure what they're doing with it over here. In America, it'll be like on cable access and things like that. It won't be on VH1, won't be on MTV because they don't want to know about that shit. So, but it'll be on much smaller venues of music television.
And considering all the medias you told about MTV, I think they were used to work with the band in the past.
Sure.
So did they lost all their memory, or is it only a business thing? They know you when you are able to.
Oh no, it's a business thing. Yeah, that's what it is. It's a large corporation telling people what they should like and what they shouldn't like. And people are like, tell me what I like, tell me what I don't like, because people are sheep, man, you know. Which, you know, it's kind of a drag, but whatever. It's got nothing to do with music, you know. That whole platform has nothing to do with music.
I remember a French journalist that told about Slave to the Grind that this album was the perfect link between thrash metal and heavy metal music.
Oh, that's cool.
So, do you agree with this having more than 10 years of regard? And by now, do you think that it will be possible to say it again about the new album?
Well, you know, everybody's opinion of what you know, mainstream and heavy and thrash and punk, and everybody has a different idea. I think it depends on the individual, you know. So if a guy reviews a record and that's how he feels, he has a different idea of what, you know, heavy music is than my idea of what heavy music is. So it's just an individual thing. It's so hard to put labels, you know. And the world is so hung up on labels. What kind of music is that? What kind of rap is that? There's not just rap. There's 10 different kinds of rap. There's, you know, 100 different kinds of rock and roll, you know. So it's people are just so hung up on labels, you know. I don't know. You could call it kind of a crossover record, I guess. I just think it's a good record. I like it. I love that record. Wouldn't change a thing.
Perfect. Considering now the band on stage, you used to play in very big venues. So tonight it's kind of middle club. Small club,
yeah.
Don't know exactly. Are you always playing today, or maybe in 2004, on this kind of...
It depends where we are, you know, it depends what country we're in. For the most part, we play smaller venues, but if we go out, you know, we played with Poison last summer in America. We're doing 10,000 every night, you know. So, you know, in America, a lot of the bills, they'll put multiple bands on the bills, so you can just, you know, get as many tickets sold as possible and play the big venues and all that. So, you know, it's no surprise to get 3 or 4 bands on a bill over there touring around the country. You know, over here we're doing it on our own on a much smaller level, but it's been great. It's been excellent, man. The crowds have been fantastic. We were in Barcelona last night. It was just hot and sweaty and noisy and the whole thing. So I expect the same thing tonight.
I expect also this.
And like I said, man, we've always had great shows in Paris. Always.
Tonight also.
Yeah.
You talked about Poison. How do you see their return, the return of other bands like Rats? And do you think that you had, in a way, the same career as them, being popular at the moment, having a black hole, or maybe a period of nothing,
Right.
and being back?
That period of nothing was called grunge. That's what that was called. That's what the period of nothing was. You know, that was the period where you were not even allowed to walk out of your house if you were in a band like Skid Row. You know, so that was an interesting period. But you know, we eventually showed our faces in public again, and then you know, fortunately, a lot of people wanted to hear it. You know, people just got tired of blood, oppression, and you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of music I like. I was a huge Nirvana fan and all that stuff, but The question was, oh, the bands, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what the question was, but I think that, you know, eventually people realized that they could come out and play again, people would show up, and, you know, it's totally different now. It's on a different level. It's kind of back where we started from, back on a small level again. But that's good. I think, you know, rock and roll in the early 90s became so just sugar-coated. It wasn't rock and roll. It was, you know, pop and cowboy boots and leather jackets. It just became really just something I didn't like, you know. And, you know, I mean, just think about some of the bands that came out that did not dig. Those are the ones that never came back. They fucking... I don't like to talk too much.
And yeah, considering the internet, you lived without in the early days of the band. By now, everybody almost have a computer at home and is connected to internet. So how do you see this new way of communicating?
I think it's great.
And for the band, do you think it's also a good point?
You know what? I think it's great for the people that like the bands. You know, whether it's us or any band, because, you know, how else are you going to get a kid from France that can talk to a kid from California, and they can say, you know, kid from California can say, oh shit, man, I saw Queensryche last night, and they were amazing, man. You know, kid from France is like, oh, they're coming here in July. That kind of shit's great. The only thing, you know, it's a language barrier, but that doesn't even seem to affect it that much, you know. Bulletin boards and all that stuff are cool, and it's a great way to promote your band and get in touch with the fans and see what they want. You know, I think it's a great thing. I fucking love the internet. I'm a computer junkie, an internet junkie. I love the whole thing.
So talking about the new and the old period, considering tonight and the set of this night, will you play a lot of old stuff, or maybe a majority of the new songs?
I play a lot of old stuff and some new stuff. We've been working the new stuff in slowly, you know, as people get to know it better. And but definitely play all the old stuff you want to hear. Definitely play the stuff you want to do. You know, the classics: Youth Gone Wild, 18 in Life, I Remember You Too.
So, considering all the fans that were waiting for you for all those years, can you promise them now that the next album will come eventually more quickly?
No, I don't think. No, I can't promise that. It's definitely in our minds, but we're not. You know, we have to tour more on this record. But it's definitely the next record is definitely something that we're all aware of that we have to, you know, get working on. And music's already been written and things like that. We just haven't sat down as a band and hashed out any ideas. So, but it's going to come. I can't tell you when though. I have no idea. Your guess is as good as mine. This is Skid Row, man. There's no schedule. It's just like whatever. When it happens, it happens.
To finish the interview, I have a little request to give you this in the end and to let you introduce it to the camera.
Okay, great. Hey, this is Scotty Hill from Skid Row, and this is Thick Skin, a labor of love, the real deal. Check it out. If you don't like it, sell it. I'll buy it off you. It's too damn good.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, bro.
That was a nice interview.
Thank you. It was my pleasure, man.